is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, at this time, if we could all please rise for Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Here.
Mayor Simonson?
Here. All right, our first order of business this evening in our work session is a information set work session. So I will pass that over to our manager, Mr. Ridgway.
Good evening, everyone. And before I get started, is there anyone that needs a brochure which will depict an awful lot of information that I won't go into depth about? And at the very end, I'll be glad to answer questions or clear up any confusion on any of the things that I'm going to talk about. Nine years ago, I started at the rec department behind Town Hall, and at the rec department, I had to attend rec advisory board meetings, and once a year, the rec advisory board puts a master plan out to the township, which is approved by council, looked at, and I have the 2009 right up to 2018, and as early as 2009, it was stated that the time is now or in the near future for an indoor pool in Lower Township. We've had 4 township meetings in the past 2 years about the pool, and council, myself, various members of the rec advisory board, and our rec department have spoken to numerous civic groups. Our financial team and then council had multiple meetings with our auditors to discuss how much we could bond in the next couple of years without taxes being affected adversely, and without eradicating our surplus, which has allowed us to gain an excellent bond rating along with us being able to sell bonds in an attractive manner. The council then 18 months ago authorized a top engineering firm in the country, Land Associates, to do a feasibility study on an aquatic center, and we've used many of their comments and suggestions and projections going forward as we come to a referendum to see if the public would welcome an aquatic center. We did start out with a $15 million project and asked the county open space organization for $15 million to pay for the aquatic center, and we received notification and a commitment for $2.6 to $3 million if the township decides to build. We had to scale back the project to bring it down under $11 million, which we used land to help us do that, and we did. We were able to keep the 8-lane pool, which the county was demanding for them giving us that money, but our therapy pool was reduced in size, and water slides were removed that were put in by Land Associates to help generate greater revenue for the township. Eileen, next, please. Okay, what are the benefits of an aquatic center and some facts about the pool? I have 7 I would like to state. A state-of-the-art aquatic center to help enable healthy community recreation for all ages through sporting events, open family swim times, physical therapy, training, and swim instruction. an 8-lane, 25-meter competition pool to host events, as well as statewide meets, Special Olympics meets, and training for triathlons. A 1,570 square foot ADA accessible, separate from the main pool, lifestyle pool, and therapy river for senior aquatic therapy and rehabilitation. 4, swim lessons for infants, toddlers, and school-age children where the parents could interact safely, with the goal of having all children swim ready by 2nd grade in Lower Township. Number 5, the ability to share the aquatic center services with neighboring communities and partnering with local hospitals and long-term rehabilitation care facilities. This facility would be open throughout the year, 7 days a week. Income would be derived through partnerships, shared services, community programs, sporting events, daily memberships, and family and individual, along with discounts for seniors and veterans. Eileen. Location, if you were on Airport Road looking at, which is now the Tech Village, which is being built, and there's 3 large structures going there. To the left of that area, going down Hornet Road there is space to construct the aquatic center in what I feel would be 2022 or late 2021. There is and has been a shared service during the rehabbing, possibly 10 hours of rental income would be available with, and at the last meeting, we have a grant person, Jim Rutallo of Rutallo Associates, who read a statement from Cape Regional in which if the bond issue in Lower Township passes, they are very interested in forming a shared service with us adjacent to the aquatic center where their patients would be wheeled down a hallway for their therapy in the pool. And we discussed various situations with this. They then called for a meeting with the directors of the DRBA. The vice president came over from Delaware. It was a very positive meeting, and they're waiting to see what happens, but that is a potential partnership that I think the public needs to know about because it's at the airport. We will offer programs for seniors, and we started out and discussed with the superintendent of the elementary school about utilizing all 2nd graders in being brought over to the pool to learn how to swim. The projected expenses of operation will exceed revenues, and we're prepared for such in a lot of ways, as this is being built to enhance living in Lower Township for all residents. We are currently spending in the next 12 months over $3 million on capital projects, which will also enhance Lower Township, and none of these projects generate revenues for the township. We are redoing the majority of our parks as well as all our gazebo areas. In closing, and then I will be glad, along with the mayor and council, to entertain any questions. We are surrounded by water in Lower Township with over 20,000 residents, and it's my personal feeling that we should be teaching our youth how to swim. I thank you for coming out tonight, and at this point, I can, along with council, answer any questions that you would have about the aquatic center. All I would ask is you come up to the microphone and identify yourself. And again, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions on the work session? No?
Joe's got
Nope. Got one?
Are you getting up, Joe? Okay, come on up.
Good evening. I'm Joe Jackson, 51 Trotter Way in Irma. Mayor, Council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to talk to you about this. It's not a question. It's more of a statement. I'm very familiar with swimming. My 3 boys swam from the time they were 5 years old with the waves, the Cape May waves. They swam competitively. They swam competitively in high school. At one time in that period, I was a USA sanctioned coach to go with them to meets, and we traveled as far away as Lancaster for swim meets that were Saturday and Sunday meets with 500-600 kids. It's definitely worth doing. At that time, my in-laws were in charge of the swim program that was recognized by the county, specialized water improvement, and that is a program that was free to anyone that had any type of disability, and all they had to do was come to us with a doctor's note that said that they were able to go in the pool, and we had volunteers in the pool with them. We gave them a little lunch afterwards, but it was basically swimming. And I can tell you from personal experience that water is the equalizer. I've seen people walk in with walkers that could barely walk and could barely move about, and they get in the water and you can't tell them from anybody else in the water. They can swim just as well. And I also saw senior citizens in the water with their aids and one-on-one type things where they would have a look of pain on their faces, and they get in the water and it totally goes away as they're help through the water. So I know the benefits of that. One thing that I have to tell you is that what this did not say was that 1 in 3 people have high blood pressure, 1 in 10 have diabetes, arthritis is expected to top 75 million in the next year. And all of those things can be minimized and sometimes equalized when you've got a water sport with it. And I think that if you had a doctor or physical therapist up here, they would probably say the same thing. But I know for a fact that if you've got diabetes and you've got a high blood sugar, you can swim in a pool and do 5 or 6 laps, and your blood sugar comes down for 24 to 48 hours. And I know for a fact that if you have high blood pressure and you swim in a pool, it brings your blood pressure down. So it's very healthy, and it's healthy for everybody. It's a life sport. You start when you're 5 years old and go all the way to 80 years old or older if you have somebody to help you. I applaud you for doing this. It's been needed in this town for a long, long time, and I hope that it passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Bill Greenfield, Villas. How many new employees do you anticipate having to hire to staff this?
Could you repeat, Bill?
How many new employees do you anticipate having to hire to staff this?
I would say between 20 and 30, but a lot of these would be part-time. The lifeguards primarily would be, I think, part-time individuals, the way we see this being structured, where there'd be certain times during the day would obviously be busy, but like this time of the year when the kids were all in school, I don't see that being staffed to the extent that.
Yeah, certain times you won't need as many.
Yeah, and although Land had a much higher estimate for salaries, we eliminated the slides, and the slides were a labor situation. Although they generated the income, you had to, for safety reasons, have a lifeguard at the top of that slide and the bottom.
Right.
If you're open for 10 hours, for 10 hours. So that's something that, obviously, there will be jobs created.
Okay.
And
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I don't see anyone else. We'll move down to best practices inventory.
Lauren could not be at the meeting tonight because of a family emergency. You'll know that part of the best practices is that the authority discussion needs to take place in an open public meeting. Lauren has provided council with a graph showing that the MUA, Fire District 1, Fire District 2, and Fire District 3 are all in compliance with the regulatory statutes that they need to be in compliance with.
Understood.
I would like to make a comment about the best practices in meeting with Lauren with this. She was more than happy with our scoring for such, but what I've noticed in the past 5 years is where the best practices used to be 40 questions, are you doing this, 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 this? Now it has increased by another almost 20, but in those additional questions, it's very rewarding to see that the questions are about shared services, which I would talk about first, because when I first sat with Lauren and she had this done, she was just thinking Wildwood Crest. But we have shared services, as you know now, with other municipalities, and most recently, last week, even Cape May coming on board. But we're working with all the adjoining municipalities, and when it's all said and done with the county, our shared service for the public safety building with what's happening there with the building and with dispatch, that's been what the state is looking for. Secondly, was all about the opportunity zones, which many municipalities are just rounding, getting up to bat with this. There was a lot of information that came out quickly, but our airport is a location that you will see these businesses start to take advantage of basic incentives to come there, being in the opportunity zone, and this is something that also will be discussed in the event of moving forward if there's an aquatic center there, because these were questions that were asked by Cape Regional, because there would be additional buildings going up there. That's all I have about that.
All right. Any questions or anyone from council? No? All right, move down to the consent agenda. Does council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Nope. Everybody's good? All right, we open up to public questions, comments on the consent agenda only. Again, if you have a question or comment, we just ask you state your name and address for the record. Anything on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, we close the public portion.
Approval of the minutes and the closed session minutes from the October 7th, 2019 meeting, and resolutions number 2019-317 through 2019-328.
I get a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson.
Yes.
Resolution number 2019-329. This is a resolution authorizing the payment of vouchers, and this is a payment to Lower Township Rescue in the amount of $35,000.
Recuse.
Any questions, comments? None up here? Any from the public? Don't see any. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Recused.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Councilmember, Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2019-14. This is a bond ordinance providing for various safety and identification improvements to Schellinger's Landing by and in the Township of Lower in the County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $950,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. This is the second reading and public hearing for this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
All right, anything from council? Nope. Anything from the public? Seeing none, get a motion to approve.
Make a motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2019-15, an ordinance of the Township of Lower amending Chapter 340 Fire Prevention, subsection 340-13B, 14 through 16, Fire Prevention, of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the second reading and public hearing for this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
All right, any questions from council? Nope. I'm none. Close that. Anything from the public? I don't see any. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Move down to manager's report.
Okay, I was asked by a couple councilmen to give an update on the various capital projects that we're working on in the township right now. And first off, Mulligan Field, we're looking at a $2 million project from Mulligan with a $400,000 ADA grant and possible open space funding. This project should be shovel-ready in 2020. The Rotary Park application for small cities for $300,000 has been submitted. John Hoffman, we have $300,000 in our 19 budget, and we're waiting for equipment, and that park should be finished in the next 4 months. Gazebos have been funded in this year's capital, and we're waiting for the engineers because there were some design issues with a couple of the circles over there, and we're on it. The recreation bathrooms will be complete by New Year's. Starting in 2 weeks, the Millman Center is going to be used weekly by the community group AA. With regards to Public Works, here's a summary of the road projects. Ketchimetchee Development, which is Ketchimetchee, Pontaxet, Mathemec, and Pakahacky. The de Blasio Associates, the survey's complete. Plans have been mailed to the utility companies. The MUA has a couple of issues with sanitary sewer lines. Chapman and de Blasio are discussing these in our bid at the MUA's expense. Timeline for construction, 5 weeks. Tabernacle Road drainage, de Blasio Associates. We all met out there a week and a half ago. Mr. Church has taken this project on. We have been asked to add some assistance here with a little bit of pipe on both sides of the road, but as far as the culvert and excavation, it would be a county job. Star Avenue from Caroline to Greenwood. De Blasio Associates, they've submitted the application to DOT for aid. We should be getting the outcome from DOT. States Avenue and Arizona Avenue, including the dead ends. De Blasio Associates, surveys complete. The design, will begin the design once the bid of Ketchimetchee Development is complete. Spring 2020 construction pending funding. Meadowview Road, from Heather Lane to Weeks Landing Road. The Public Works actually started this project this morning. They were digging there to locate the utilities. They're installing a drainage system in there tomorrow and repaving. Timeline completion, November. Roseanne Avenue Phase 3, Mount Construction's installing pipe up the Bay Shore. Concrete curb is scheduled to start October 28th. On a side note about the street lights, they were notified of the street lights. There's a couple street lights are working, but we've been in discussions with regards to this, and this requires a process to get all of these up and running, and they want to wait now until 3 is done. So what's they're working now, they'll have for maybe a month and a half, but then they're going to do the, which Dave, I don't know with that new type of lighting what that means. It's just not.
LEDs. The LED lighting they're going to put in?
Yes. So, Ag 8 Instruction presently attending to their punch list items, and the closeout is hopefully by mid-November. And an issue came to my desk today at 4:05 that I haven't discussed with council, but I'll explain that about something related to that project, that even though Mr. Schrey is no longer in our arena, he's working on this from Pittsburgh. I saw correspondence that he was fighting a requisition by them, which he feels is on Ag 8 and not us. Roseanne Pump Station fencing. We're waiting on the quote from Murphy Fence Company. Completion is expected on that by the end of November. We're looking at doing 4. When I say beach accesses, not the accesses now as much as we're waiting for McDonald's report, the engineering report for the stair cases at the end of Shadeland, Redwood, Roseanne, and Hollywood. Since we had started to look at Shadeland, we're going to attempt to get all this done under the one permit, and if we have to, not if, we have to bring in heavy equipment because of them going 10 feet through the soil. Public Works isn't able to do this, so we'll be hiring a company to do such, and basically we're working on that today. November 1st is the budget hearing for all departments. It's next Friday, and Lauren asked me to notify council if anyone or anybody wants to stop in and see when the department heads make their requests. If you want to hear what's going on, that could be a good morning to look at that. And the police asked again for No Shave November, which they've been doing the last couple of years, and I okayed that. They do it for fighting cancer, and this year's recipient of Middle Township police officer's wife has cancer, and all the proceeds from this event are going to be going to, I think it's Officer Higginbottom. And gentlemen, that's all I have.
All right, do we have any administrative reports? That's pretty much it, right? We don't have Bob McDonald's on here. All right, we move down to council comments. Councilman comments.
Start with everyone's favorite. Water flushing starts October 27th. If you have the water, you know it's going to turn brown at some point and then turn brown again. Just flush the system, let it go through, get it out of there. This is the time to all the employees, the best practices. People don't know exactly how much of it's like a different type of audit that the employees have to go through, all the departments, and checking on things. They've been doing a wonderful job in this township for a long time. We've been getting high marks on it, and that's to be commended, and it's all thanks to the employees. Emergency access on Village Road. As we know, the water keeps taking out our emergency access there. We've had a beautiful little dirt ramp. It disappears on high tide. We have received permission from the state DEP to put a more solid structure in there. They're going to be working on that, and that'll be starting hopefully in a few months. I have Manager will give us a better idea later, because he's probably burned out from everything he's done already. I'm giving you a break. Pool. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of bad information. If you have questions, please call. Whether you vote yes or no, that is a personal decision. Council's been very careful not to say lean either way, but think about what you're doing. If you don't believe in it, you don't believe in it. If you think it's good, vote for it. Look at it from the big perspective, the little one. As the manager stated very clearly, actually, he didn't go far enough. There is no projects, no things that we do that bring money into this township. We fix the roads, there's no money coming in. We fix the storm drains, that doesn't do anything. It helps all the residents, especially those in the area. No park brings money in. Other than that, have a good night.
Councilman Perry?
Mr. Ridgway covered most of what I was going to basically speak on, like the Roseanne Avenue project. I see they're almost at Bay Shore Road right now, installing their pipe, so it looks like it's probably by the end of this week or next week, the pipe installation will be completed.
They are on schedule. I know they hit a little bit of a speed bump last Friday. There was an issue with water. The MUA swung right in there, and they at that point, they were able to get that worked out pretty quickly, but some of the residents were experiencing low pressure when they were working on that, so.
Wasn't a Nissan though, right? The speed bump? Never mind.
And on the same lines as that, same thing, the MUA wasn't in sync for the Skellinger Landing project, and they need to be in sync because there's two big water lines down there with regards to Lobster House and down further. So it was good that they're on board now with that also.
Okay, good. And I see that the contract has been awarded to Mont McDonald for the engineering for the stairs, and I take it they're piles, right? Pile driving, and because we see the erosion down there all the time, just putting a set of stairs there, they're going to wash out like the other ones did, so that's good thinking there. The other thing that I have that I noticed on the Board of Freeholders agenda for tomorrow, something that was requested quite some time ago is going through Town Bank Road. The speed limit will be reduced from Bay Shore Road to Seashore Road on Town Bank. That'll be, if that's approved at the Freeholders meeting, that'll probably post it within the next week or two. Also, on Town Bank Road from Sheriff Taylor Boulevard to Seashore Road will be designated no passing zone. And the object is to slow the traffic down and stop the passing along that road. With all the houses, we have school bus stops on that road, so on and so forth. It's become extremely dangerous with a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, which cars have a tendency of doing somewhere around 50 miles an hour. So we're going to be slowing the traffic down and stopping any cars from passing on that stretch of Town Bank Road. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Roy?
Okay, the only thing I have is the bike path has been addressed as far as the roots coming through the surface of the roadway. So that's something that we're very happy to see done. It's been an issue for some time. Public Works got in there and straightened it all out from Sally Marshall Crossing all the way down to Tabernacle. So it's in pretty good shape at this point in time. Other than that, that's it.
Awesome. All right, Sergeant Major?
Okay, just put a reminder out for the Second Annual Veterans Parade, November 9th. The first year was a great success. We're hoping to have another good turnout this year. So November 9th, it's going to start at 11 a.m. The Villas Fire Department and here at Township Hall. So if you can, please spread